Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to another reading lesson. So today we are going to continue with non-fiction. This whole week we are reading non-fiction articles taken from the Weekly Junior, which is a children's magazine. So what I'm going to do is share my camera screen with you so we can read through the text together, okay? So you should all now be able to see my text, and you can see there's a picture of Marcus Rashford. If those of you who don't know who Marcus Rashford is, he is a football player. He plays for Manchester United. I just found that out by reading this article. So let's see if we can find out some more information about Marcus Rashford and what he's trying to do. So the title of this news article is Rashford Tackles Food Poverty. I'm just going to read this section here and then work my way down. A growing gap. The gap between how well rich and poor students do at primary school in England has widened according to a study released in August. The report says that students from wealthier families do better than their less well-off classmates. The gap was already increasing before the coronavirus outbreak, but now there are concerns that more disadvantaged students will have dropped further behind as a result of lockdown and may need extra support. So it's given us a little bit of information about what this article is going to be about, but I think we're going to find out more information once we read underneath our heading. So we're going to do a paired reading activity, which means when I ask you to pause the video, I would like you to pause the video and take ownership of the reading. It is important that you take ownership of the reading, because if you don't continue reading through, you won't understand the text. So please make sure you're pausing the video and reading through the text with me. Now, wow. In 2016, think about how Miss Ahad is picking up on the punctuation to listen to the fluency within my reading. I'm picking up on punctuation and not just reading through it in order to make my reading more fluent. Marcus Rashford scored 2 goals in his first Premier League match for Manchester United. He was 18 at the time. Let's read on. Marcus Rashford, the Manchester United and England footballer, has set up a group to tackle child food poverty in the UK. On 1st September, Rashford announced he had joined forces with some of the UK's largest food companies, as well as businesses and charities. Rashford says he is confident the group can help change lives. Now, I would like you to continue reading from what is food poverty? So you're going to read underneath this subheading, what is food poverty, which is a question, and you're going to read right till the end. So please pause the video and read through this section of text. Fantastic, Year 6. I loved hearing that fluency within your voice, really picking up the punctuation. And if you incorrectly said a word, please just go back in and reread the sentence so you understand the word in context. So let's continue. What is Marcus Rashford doing? Rashford wants the government to put in place 3 recommendations. First, to provide free school meals to an extra 1.5 million children aged up to 16 whose parents need extra support. The second suggestion is for all children on free school meals to be given them during the holidays and not just during term time. He also wants the value of Healthy Start vouchers, which can be used to buy food items, to be increased from £3.10 to £4.25 per week. Why is Rashford involved? When he was a child, Rashford relied on free school meals. His mum worked full-time, but the family could still not afford enough food. In June, Rashford wrote to members of Parliament saying how important free meals are and persuaded the government to provide them in England over the summer holiday. He hopes that working with experts will enable him to do more and to end child food poverty. He also hopes people who need free meals will not be afraid to ask for them. Now, I'm going to change the intonation within my voice because it's Marcus Rashford speaking now, not Miss Ahad reading this. I feel like at times people think they are being looked down on if they ask for help. Hold your head up high, and if you need help, go get help. What has the response been? Some members of Parliament have already tweeted their support for Rashford's plan. The government has said it will carefully consider calls to take fresh action to tackle childhood hunger. Now, Year 6, I would like you to read the word of the week. I'll just help you by reading the word is gossamer, and I would like you to read the definition of the word. Okay, so pause the video and read the word of the week. Fantastic, Year 6. You all sound amazing. Now, I'm going to read the week in history, but I'm going to miss out some words. I would like you to continue, I would like you to read along with me, but the words that I miss out, you're going to read those aloud with me too. So a week in history, 7th September 1838, Darling saves shipwrecked passengers. On 7th September 1838, 22-year-old Grace Darling risked her life to save on a sinking ship. Darling's father was a lighthouse keeper and the family lived in Longstone Lighthouse on the Fern Islands off the coast of At around 4:30 a.m., Darling saw a steamship for Farshire had crashed near the lighthouse. With her father, she rowed into the sea and saved Darling's bravery was reported in the newspapers and her story spread around the So think about all those words Miss Ad has just skipped out for you to pick up and read on. This shows that you're following along with the text. So now we're going to go on to our questions. I'm going to model my questions under the visualizer. So those are the questions in black, and then you're going to do the questions in green, just like you all have been doing. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay, so we've just read our text and now we're going to answer our questions. What I have done to help you out is if you want to answer your questions from the video, I've actually snipped the section where the answer will come from. So my question is, the question in black is for Ms. Ahad to answer, and it is, what is Marcus Rashford's main aim in this article? So I'm just going to switch back to my camera for you to have a look at how I'm going to answer this question. So what is Marcus Rashford's main aim? Okay, so as you can see with my presentation, I've written out today's date and I've underlined it. I've labelled my subject as reading because that is what I'm doing, and I'm going to answer my question, which is number 1, and that is, what is Marcus Rashford's main aim? Well, I know from reading this article, his main aim is to tackle food poverty. It's in the title, it's to tackle food poverty, and that is what his main aim is. So I'm going to just write out my answer, and as you can see, I've just written down question number 1, and I'm just going to write my answer down. Please do not copy out the question as it is time consuming for you. I just want to see your answers. So capital letter because I'm starting my sentence, but you do not have to write in full sentences. Please make sure you are aware of that unless it's a 3-mark question or 2 marks. But for just 1-mark questions, you're just simply writing the answer, and my answer is to tackle food poverty. So poverty refers to not having the basic necessities such as food, water, clothing. So that is what Marcus Rashford is trying to tackle, and he's trying to tackle food poverty within children under the age of 16. So let's go on to see your questions now. Okay, so the questions are in green. So you have 3 here. Firstly, you're starting off with a true or false statement, and that is true or false. Rashford says he feels unsure that the group can help change people's life. So you're going to look for whether this statement is true or false. I'm really sorry if my screen flickers. I will try and get that sorted out. It's not your laptop screen, it's my laptop. Really sorry. Number 2, fact or opinion. In the UK, around 2.5 million children live in households that do not have enough food. Remember, a fact, it's a measurable statement. You have figures that will help you measure this, and an opinion is formed by someone's judgment. And then lastly, you're answering the question of what is food poverty. So you're going to pause the video now and have a go at these questions. Only come back to the video now if you have finished. Please show yourself that integrity to mark your work like you have been showing throughout. So just continuing with that. First statement here is true or false. Rashford says he feels unsure that the group can help to change lives. So I know that this statement, I need to look for the group can help change people's lives within the text to help me find out if this is true or false. So it says down here, Rashford says he is confident the group can help change lives. So actually this is false, because he's not unsure, he is confident, he's feeling sure that this group will help to change the lives of children. Number 2, fact or opinion. In the UK, around 2.5 million children live in households that do not have enough food. Well, this is it's a grammar activity. It's actually not using the text, but you can use the text to help you find out if it is a fact. But this is definitely a fact because it's measurable. It's given us the figure. It says 2.5 million. It's measured children live in households that do not have enough food. So it's not coming from Marcus Rashford's him saying this. It's actually a figure that has been researched into. And then lastly, what is food poverty? So we know that we're looking at this subheading here, which is what is food poverty. And food poverty is when people do not have enough money to buy healthy food. Okay, so it's not just about not like food in general, it's about buying healthy food. So food that is good for you, such as fruits, vegetables, and all that sort of food that is good for you. Okay, so now we're going to go on to our next section, which is, what is Marcus Rashford doing? This Ahad's question is true or false. Marcus wants the government to put in place 3 recommendations. So I'm going to look for 3 recommendations in the text, and I'm also going to look for the word government to also help me. So Marcus Rashford wants the government to put in place 3 recommendations. So that is true. I found that in the text. Now, for you have 3 questions. So your first one is a true or false statement, and firstly, it's one of Rashford's suggestions is to increase the value of Healthy Start vouchers. Number 5 is a fact or opinion statement. So Marcus thinks all children on free school meals should be given them during the holiday and not just term time. And number 6, find and copy the phrase that suggests the value of Healthy Start vouchers should rise. Okay, so you're going to pause the video and have a go at these 3 questions. Please remember, for number 5, you're finding the phrase and not the word. Okay, so I'm assuming you've all completed those 3 questions now, so you're coming back to this video to find out what the answers are. So let's have a look. Number 4, true or false. One of Rashford's suggestions is to increase the value of Healthy Start vouchers. So let's have a look for Healthy Start vouchers in the text. Okay, he wants the value of Healthy Start vouchers, which can be used to buy food items, to be increased from £3.10 to £4.25 a week. So that is true. There is an increase there. I'd like you to work out how much it's increased by, from £3.10 to £4.25. Okay, number 5, fact or opinion. Marcus thinks all children on free school meals should be given them during the holidays and not just term time. This is definitely an opinion because it is what Marcus thinks. It's what his argument is. That is what he is, his plan that's been put forward to members of Parliament is to allow children to have free school meals, not just during term time, but during the holidays. So that's what his opinion is. It's not a fact because it hasn't given us a measurable statement here. And number 6, we have to find and copy the phrase that suggests that the value of Healthy Start vouchers should rise. So I know that this will link in with number 4. So I can find the evidence in the same place. And that is, so it comes from this sentence. He wants the value of Healthy Start vouchers, which can be used for food items, to be increased from £3.10 to £4.25 a week. So having increased and then showing the monetary value of it increasing, the money increasing, the vouchers increasing, that is the phrase that you will need to copy in. It's fine if you've written from the whole sentence, but just to save time, increase to £3.10 to £4.45 is also correct. So well done, year 6, you're doing fantastic. Let's continue. So my question is, why is Rashford involved in this campaign? So why is Rashford? So starting with why, I need to start with because. So I'm going to flip over to my camera so you can watch me do this. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and then share back, sorry. So why is Marcus Rashford involved in this campaign? So I know I can find my evidence. If you have the text in front of you, it's under this subheading, why is Rashford involved? And because the statement says, because he couldn't, as a child, his family still couldn't afford enough food. and he relied on free school meals as well as a child. So my sentence is going to start off with number 2. I'm going to write down, sorry, I think it's number 2 for my question, or number 3 actually. Number 3, but because I did number 2 on Active Inspire with you. So just going to write down number 2, so it's in order. I'm going to write down because Marcus Rashford's family relied on free school meals when he was a child. And that is how I've answered number 2. It's because Marcus Rashford's family relied on free school meals when he was a child. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the questions. And you have 3 questions here. So you have, firstly, a true or false statement, which is Rashford wrote to members of Parliament in May. And then you have number 8, which is why did Rashford write to members of Parliament? Remember, this is a why question, so you're starting with because. And the next you have find and copy the phrase that suggests you should feel confident if you need help. Okay, so 3 questions. Pause the video and have a go at those 3 questions. Okay, let's mark through your questions together. Number 7, true or false? Rashford wrote to members of the Parliament in May. So sorry, my presentation here is a mess. I'm looking to find the verb wrote in the text, and then members of Parliament as well. That may help me. So I'm just underlining the things I need to help me look back at the text. So Rashford wrote to members of the Parliament. Oh, it tells me here I've got fronted adverbial. In June, he wrote to members of the Parliament. So this is actually false because it was not in May, it was in June. Okay, and then number 8, why did Rashford write to members of Parliament? So why did he? Because let's see, in June, Rashford wrote to members of Parliament saying how important free school meals are and persuaded the government to provide them in England over the summer holiday. So the reason why he wrote to the members of Parliament is to show them the importance of free school meals, and he was trying to persuade them to provide them in England over the summer holidays. So you could have 2 reasons. Firstly, to persuade them to provide meals in England over the summer holidays, but also to allow them to find out the importance of free school meals. So one of those 2 is absolutely fine for you to have for number 8. And then number 9, find and copy the phrase that tells you should feel confident if you need help. So I remember it was within his dialogue, so what he said. So here I'm going to look for, I feel like at times people think they are being looked down on if they ask for help. Hold your head up high, and if you need help, go get help. That is the phrase that suggests you should feel confident. Holding your head up high is actually showing confidence. Okay, so it's another way to describe someone as being confident. It's actually a saying, hold your head up high, to definitely show that you are confident. So well done if you got those correct. If not, just go back in and make the corrections. Now, number 10, 11 and 12 are for you to do. So number 10 is how has the government responded to Rashford's plan? Number 11, true or false, MPs have supported Rashford's plan via Twitter. And then number 12, using the evidence from the text, what impressions do you have of Marcus Rashford? It's a 3-mark question, so which means you need 2 impressions and 2 pieces of evidence. Need to refer to evidence to support your answer. Okay, so you're going to have a go at those 3 questions, and please come back to the video once you have completed them. So pause the video and have a go at those questions. Okay, so number 10, how has the government responded to Rashford's plan? So here it says the government has said it will carefully consider. So you could say they have responded in a positive manner, saying that they will carefully consider his plan. Or if you've just written down that the government have said that they will carefully consider Rashford's plan, that also answers the question for number 10. Number 11, true or false, MPs have supported Rashford's plan via Twitter. Let's see, some members of Parliament have already tweeted their support. So we've got support here and tweeted, so we know that that's on Twitter, so that is true. And then number 12, we can do together under the visualizer, as I am aware that there will be different impressions that you have of Marcus Rashford with different pieces of evidence. So please do not mark number 12. If you have impressions and pieces of evidence that Ms. Ahad has mentioned, use those. If you haven't, that's absolutely fine. Do not mark it. Your teachers will mark those through with you. So I'm just going to share my camera screen with you. So you should be able to see my camera. Okay, so what impressions do you have of Marcus Rashford? So firstly, let's take down some pieces of evidence that you could have used. So I'm just going to draw my ideas off the text. So I'm going to label the impressions from the piece of evidence. So for example, here he's joined forces with some of large food companies as well as businesses and charities. So you can say he's proactive about making change. And then you have Rashford says he is confident he can help change lives. The group, sorry, can help to change lives. Again, showing how he's caring. Another piece of evidence you could have is all his suggestions here. Suggestions, he wants to make a difference. So you could say he's put forward three different recommendations for the government. So if one of them isn't okay, they have two others to choose from. So again, he wants to make a difference. He's proactive, he's caring, he's kind, he's generous, because he thinks that children should be entitled to free school meals, not just during the term time, but during holidays as well. So he's considering people's feelings. And then persuading the government to provide free school meals over the holiday and over the summer holiday. That's what, so he's wrote to members of the Parliament, again, showing how he's kind. Again, hoping that he can work with experts to do more to tackle child food poverty, being proactive, being that person who is actually wanting to make a change. And his plan has been supported. So I'm actually just looking at my impressions just here, if you can't see. So you can have different impressions, such as he's determined, he's observant, he's kind, he's organised. You could say he's organised. He wrote to members of the Parliament to make sure, it's not just through Twitter where he's campaigning. He's writing to members of Parliament, being proactive. You would actually call that as, if you go to Parliament and lobby. So again, trying to talk to members of Parliament, getting their attentions to make a change. That is what he's doing. And he's quite brave as well to be doing this. As a football player, he's in a different, you'd say maybe a different path, trying to make change, but he's really trying to help other people. So I'm going to go back to my questions. If you haven't got any of my impressions that I've just said, that's absolutely fine. You can send those in on Seesaw and I'll have a look through those. So we're just going to go back and do the last set of questions. And your last set of questions here, you have, what is the word of the week? True or false, a Grace risked her life to save passengers on a sinking ship. And then find and copy the word that suggests the steamship had, so I'm just going to move my screen, had hit into something. Okay, so you have these 3 questions to do. Pause the video and have a go at those, please. Okay, we're now going to mark through our responses. Only continue with the video once you've finished. What is the word of the week? So we've got the word of the week here and it's gossamer. So it's a beautiful word, as you all have read, and it describes delicate cobwebs spun by small spiders. Okay, number 14, true or false, Grace risked her life to save passengers on a sinking ship. So let's have a look. So we can see risked and then to save passengers on a sinking ship. That's what we need to look for in this section here. Grace Darling risked her life to save passengers on a sinking ship. That is true. And then number 15, find and copy the word that suggests the steamship had hit into something. Okay, so we need to just find and copy the word, not the phrase this time, just a single word. And I remember it was at the bottom down here somewhere. Darling saw the steamship Forfarshire had crashed near the lighthouse. That suggests the verb crash, that it had hit into something, and it was something near the lighthouse. So well done if you got all of those questions correct. If you haven't, please make sure you go back in and write in your corrections. Do not just mark them incorrect and just go on to the next question. Go back in and write your correction, because if I ask you the question again, you should be able to get it right the second time because you have made that correction. Okay, Year 6, well done for getting through right to the end of the video. I would like you to read. I'm just going to show you what I want you to read, and you're going to send that in on Seesaw under the visualizer. So you're going to read this section of the text. I'm not going to say the section because I want you to make sure I can hear you and you're listening. So I'd like you to read this section here and send that in on Seesaw. So please record yourself or send in a voice note of you reading this exact section of Growing Gaps. So under that subheading, thinking about the fluency within your voice, like within your reading, sorry. So I will see you all tomorrow in our reading lesson where we're going to continue reading about Marcus Rashford. So I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.